Hi, I'm Afton Brzoni, and this is the newest installment in Scribe National's Changemaker Conversation series. Today, I'm talking to Clayton Diebert, who's a realtor with Century 21 in the Fraser Valley area in BC. How are you lately, Clay?
I'm doing good, thank you. How's everything going with you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Been having lots of interesting conversations with people like yourself, which has been
hmm
but before we dive in to kind of start off here, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and about your work?
well, I'm a real estate agent, like you said, with Century 21. My office is in Chilliwack, and I live in Abbotsford and work out of Mission, Abbotsford, Chilliwack area. Um, I try to focus on the tech side of things, being the up and comer in the area for leading technology for marketing homes and trying to make a name for myself doing that line of business through real estate.
Awesome. And I mean, I've known you for a while now. I've seen that you've been doing this really before the pandemic, and it's also, of course, super relevant even today.
Mhm.
Because we all know that, like everybody, the real estate industry has been affected in its own ways by this pandemic. Can you talk about sort of like how you were aware even before this of the importance that technology plays in the industry, and maybe give people a few examples of how you use it in your business?
Yeah, so the big piece of technology that I bought is called a Matterport camera. It's like a big black box with multiple cameras on the front and scanners and lasers and basically instead of just having photos or a video of a house, you go through and scan this whole house and it creates a 3D image of a house. Like they call it the dollhouse image because it looks like you're holding a dollhouse in your hand. You can spin it around and zoom in anywhere you want and basically freely from your phone or computer or whatever, walk around and look around at every corner of the house. So I bought that camera. It was definitely a big investment into my own business. Um, but I bought that last January. I've been pushing for it. I'm amazed at the amount of people in the industry that don't even, or at the time, didn't know what it was when I was first using it, and really, even some of my best friends, like they wouldn't truly understand what the product was until I like had it either on my phone or on an iPad and put it in their hands to play with, and they're just blown away at what that piece of technology can actually do. So I mean, and I got it just for um, if you have the technology, why not? And also, one of the biggest things is pre-qualifying people. So instead of, it wastes everyone's time when you're having to set up a whole lot of showings. You have to clean the house, prep it, turn on the lights on, make it look pretty. I know you know this process very well. And then you have to leave the house for, X amount of time. And especially if you've got multiple showings, it can be a hassle throughout the day trying to organize your life. So what I ended up starting doing was I would, have the link for the Matterport tour. That's what it's called. The virtual, let's just call it the virtual tour. Put it in the marketing links in the MLS, but not everyone sees it or clicks on it because a lot of the time people just put like a landing page that hosts all their photos in the virtual tour link. So a lot of times you click on it, it's just the same photos that's already on MLS. So what I would do is when I would get another realtor contact me to book a showing for one of my listings, I would make sure I sent them the link to share with their clients. And basically it's a virtual showing before they actually step foot in the house, just to make sure that, do they still like the house? Do they still feel the need to actually open the door and physically walk through and have my clients spend more time cleaning, gathering up, especially if they've got kids or pets, and get them all out of the house for an hour so that people can come through the house. So yeah, it just eliminates time wasting, and really it just streamlines the people that are coming through your house are going to be the most pre-qualified people ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I checked it out on your website, and it is definitely very different than simply looking at photos. Like,
hmm
you could really feel like you were in the house. And I think, that's obviously, like you explained, beneficial for the seller, but then
Yeah,
even for the buyer too, because they get a better idea of what it's actually like.
totally. Every time I'm sitting down with clients that are buyers and we're looking at photos, like, oh, it's kind of hard to tell like how the layout is. It's like, as pictures you can't always stitch together the pictures. Especially in different areas, you're only allowed to have X amount of pictures on the MLS listings. Luckily, in the Fraser Valley and Vancouver board, they actually just like last week upped it from 20 photos up to 40 photos. So that'll make things a little bit better, but still with only just photos, it's so hard to see the layout. So every time, like my buyers click on a link and has the Matterport, we're like, hallelujah, take a walk through the house and tell me what you think now. And then we can use that as a benchmark of what you feel you need and what we can look for to really refine our search.
So it sounds like it is resonating really well with your clients then.
Yeah. Everyone that sees it just thinks it's awesome. But it's just a matter of being able to portray with words how cool it is, because like I said, even like some of my best friends that I'm around all the time talking about it and tell them about it, but they don't truly understand the capacity of it until you put it in their hands and they actually get to play with it.
Absolutely. And so that decision that the board made, I'm guessing, do you think that that might have anything to do with like the current situation and the fact that, like, maybe, I mean, you know much better than I do, how are physical viewings sort of being impacted? Like, have you noticed a drop or people more hesitant?
Yeah, definitely a big drop in showings. Because everyone's going through more strict hoops they got to jump through for pre-qualifying. So like right at the beginning, of course, it was, well, have they left the country in the last few weeks? Have they been in contact with anyone? Where obviously now no one's been able to travel anyway, so everyone knows that no one's traveled in the last little while. But yeah, there's actually forms that have been made up by different brokerages or different governing authorities to kind of set as waivers for people to, it's like a questionnaire, have you had symptoms, have you been exposed to people with symptoms, blah blah blah. And they want us to wear, certain places want us to wear gloves or face mask, and or even the other realtor will show up for the listing or for the showing and open up cupboards and open up all the doors, turn on the lights, and then tell you don't touch anything, just walk and look, and then don't turn anything off, leave everything on, leave everything as is, walk out, and then I'll go through and close it all up. So there's definitely lots of extra stuff. No, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of looky-loos. I guess maybe if you're not in the industry, you don't know that term, but people that are just doing showings for the sake of doing showings, no matter if it's the top of their list or not. But those have definitely been weeded out because people only want to have people going through their house if it's completely necessary. I mean, I see why they made real estate an essential service, because people sometimes, especially in circumstances like this where jobs are being lost, sometimes they need to move. So like what would happen if they stopped real estate transactions? They would have to basically, they'd be forcing people to foreclose on houses if they could no longer afford it, or if their jobs moved, or if they continue on with normal life. But so there was definitely a slowdown in transactions. I think it was in the Fraser Valley, it was about 50% sales were reduced over from April as opposed to March. So it definitely did take a big toll. Not a lot of prices went down though. There's really just so many factors to see whether or not prices are or how badly they will dip. There's just so many economic factors and how fast things get picked up and what the government does, and there's so many factors to even think about to try to give a forecast.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to predict any activity right now across industries. And I've been finding that, in everyone that I've spoken with, from like the retail industry to the hospitality, now to you in real estate. But it does sound like people in your industry have been able to act quickly to kind of put measures in place so that if someone does need to sell their home, and that if they do need to have, people coming through, that, there's a way to kind of mitigate risk there. And I think, like, would you say now that the approach you take and the technology that you're using has become even more important nowadays?
Yeah. So, because as soon as those measures started coming in, people didn't want as many showings on their houses, and that pre-qualifying step, then everyone's scrambling. Well, what else can I do? So now more and more people, I'd say probably in the last 2 months, have learned about Matterport and what it is, and had virtual tours down their house. And actually, one of the local companies in the Fraser Valley that does a lot of Matterport tours for different, whether it's realtors or big developers, they know I have a camera. I've been in contact with them before, and they were so busy and had so much work requested, whether it be from big developers in Vancouver, Quitlam, or wherever, that they didn't have enough cameras, enough people to operate them. So actually, they subcontracted me when I had some extra time to go do a few of the shoots for them and just upload it and send it to them. So a little extra money made from that. But I mean, and then I also offered it to people in my office or realtor friends of mine, just basically do it to cover my costs, just to help everyone out.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think it's definitely something that is useful anytime, but especially in a time like this. And obviously just helps keep people safe too. If they don't need to go in a house, if they're not totally sure, then
Exactly.
would you say like that all sounds like it's going great. Would you say that do you think there are still challenges ahead, or I know it is hard to predict what you kind of see for what's next?
Yeah, I mean, showings have been picking up. Sales have been happening. Like there's all the indicators are showing, especially with the news that's came out in the last few days, with things starting to ease up in the next couple of weeks, that there are more buyers coming out, more people that were holding off selling their house, starting to put their place on the market. So I'm seeing a lot more sales going through and a lot more listings being activated on MLS. So as of right now, again, more factors, like it's all about what's gonna be the dominant. Is it going to be sellers or buyers? Because that will determine where the market goes, the supply and demand. Because if you get, if the market all of a sudden floods with thousands and thousands of people selling their house and not enough buyers to absorb all that inventory, then obviously prices are going to come down to meet that demand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's just so many factors that we'll have to wait and see how things trend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a long game and probably some twists and turns along the way.
Yeah.
What advice would you have either for others in your industry or even just someone who's thinking of investing in technology for their business, to sort of like take that leap when you're thinking of investing in something, or just kind of navigate towards different shifts in your business?
I mean, it all boils down to their comfort level, because I mean, it was a fairly big investment to make, but as obviously now it's paying off in the long run, and being one of those front runners with that technology. But yeah, there's so many options you can do. Even like there's other things I could be doing with that camera as well, to like other streams of business that I could be creating with it, which I have somewhat. But yeah, I mean, even if you're just paying someone for that service to provide you with a virtual tour, it's either keep up or get left behind, in my opinion. But that's just me being aggressive with how everything is going. I would like to see everyone using it personally. It'd make things a heck of a lot easier. It'd be a lot less time spent doing showings, and a lot less time wasted for people trying to sell their houses. So it would help everyone if everyone just jumped on board and got virtual tours of houses. It would make things a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, as someone who's been on kind of both sides of that, buying and selling, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely valuable. And I think even blowing that out larger than even real estate, I just think that like anytime you can create a better customer experience, why not do it? And I tend to agree with you about the like keep up or get left behind. I think sometimes people aren't always in the position to make a big change or to invest in something, but if you are, it's at least worth exploring it, just because you never know the benefits it's going to have.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to do what I do and go out and buy this multi-$1,000 camera. That you don't need to buy that. You can simply pay someone when you need it to do the service. There's enough companies out there that will come and do a Matterport scan, just like you pay for professional photographers to come take a photo. It's the exact same thing, just a little bit different product at the end.
Yeah, exactly. I think it certainly sounds worth it, and it sounds like it's been great for your business, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to share with us? And also, before we do sign off, I definitely need you to tell everyone where they can get in touch with you. And yeah.
Okay. Well, my biggest stream of content would probably be on Instagram. You can find me at CLAYTON.DIEBERT.REAL.ESTATE. And I put out lots of like little 2-minute long info videos. I try to put one out like once or twice a week. They're informational. They're good. They're fun. And then on Facebook, it's just Clayton Diebert Real Estate. And if you want to see some examples of the Matterport tours that I do, you can go to www.toptechlistings.com. That's my little landing page that I created within my website to showcase basically how I market listings.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, yeah, it was really great to talk to you today, and
You as well.
we'll definitely keep in touch and see kind of what developments are happening. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next week with another video.